Hello and welcome to this overview of the version 1.1 of the SAS MAS Scorer application. If you haven't seen the original video introducing it, check it out, it's the first video in the description. This is all about the new updates, and there's two major ones. First up, you can now also install this application as an Electron app. You can go there by going to the releases page on the SAS GitHub project and then download the corresponding installer for your OS. So as I'm on Windows, I would download the .exe file. If you're on Apple, you download the DMG file. And if you are on Linux, you can download the app image. Now, you can, of course, also build from source. All of that, all the build scripts are within the repository. But if you do not know how to build your own Electron apps, these are pre-built and compiled for you for download. So what does this give us? Here, I have the MAS Module Scorer open in its own window on my Windows environment. And I get more screen real estate. And it comes with two handy features. First up, you can configure multiple environment connections and easily switch between those, which, especially if you test things across development, test, and prod, you have a great time just quickly moving between those. And then the second feature is I now have introduced something that is called UI apps, and I want to shout out my colleague Jared Link here, who gave the inspiration for this new feature. So when we go to a decision or a model in our module scorer here, we search for one. I'm going to demonstrate this on the cars decision. You will find a build UI button on this overview page. This takes you into the UI apps screen, where we can now configure our own small custom applications. So first up, I can give this a name here. So cars app. We can provide a description, easily provide cylinders. I don't know, it's a toy application that we have here. Then you can specify how much you want to show on screen and kind of how many columns you want that. You can put things side by side or in line. You can change the execution button's name. So we, instead of execute, we could say submit here. And let's take a first look at our application. Okay, this is what it looks like. As we said, side by side, we have the title up top, we have a description below it, and we have our submit button. And if we submit this now, we see the result here. But we can do more. Let's go back to editing. First up, we can click in here. Instead of inputs, we can provide whatever title we want. So we can say this is the input. And then for the results, we could say, here are the outputs. And then also we can configure our in and outputs. So for example, we can switch between directions to remap things, for example. We can move them to different sections within here. So if you have a decision or a model with many more inputs, you can structure that however you want. We can update the label display to the end users here. So for example, make it a bit cleaner. We can provide help text. So this is helping. We can change the widget type. So we could have a slider, for example, or a text input. We can make this read only, and we can also make it hidden so that we send default values always to our decision or to our model. We can specify how much space it should take up on the screen. And finally, we can enter the placeholder, the default value, and we have a small validation in here. Now we can also add some additional text blocks, move them above or below. We can just enter markdown syntax in here to help us kind of make nice looking text. And it also comes with a label. And as I said, if you had more in and outputs, you might also want more sections to restructure things here as well. Things are always saved for you. and we can then move on. And the next time you open up the mass scoring application, these UI apps are saved as part of the logic of this MAS Module Scorer, so you can reuse them even when you close out this application. Of course, we can also change how the output is rendered. So instead of a gauge, we can make it a batch, for example. So now if we submit this, we now see it as a batch. So these are the updates of the MAS Module Scorer version 1.1. I hope you like them as much as I do, and see you next time. Bye bye.